And we're live. How's it going, everybody? Raul, Yoma, Joseph.
Hello, hello.
How are you, Joseph?
Pretty good. Coming back from that tournament and feeling good.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Anything exciting happened this weekend?
I did pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling good. Playing some more Rog-Thrass as usual.
Yeah.
I don't know. How's it been in Colorado?
It's been warm.
Very
Actually,
warm.
no, it's been rainy. It's been pretty rainy.
It's
as of
one of the
late.
two. It's either
Yeah, it's
90
really
or
rainy.
really rainy.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Namely cEDH Game Podcast.
We got there.
We got there. Yeah. I hope everyone's having good. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with cEDH right now from this past weekend. I think this will come out at Tuesday after the whole saga came out.
Yeah.
If you're interested in all of that, you can check out Comedian's video on it. I think it's probably the best one out there.
Did a really good breakdown of just like what's happened and just being like open about it, not just saying like, oh, this person did this, and just talking
Yeah.
about the situation.
They're not trying to crucify somebody, but they're all pointing out the things that they did wrong.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Flaws or issues. Yeah.
Yeah, and ways that things can be fixed. So I think that's the best way to go about covering these kind of topics. I think a lot of the conversation has been very either carrying water for people or apologizing their behavior or like bashing the format, which is
Or
not
saying
productive.
things are okay when they may not be okay.
Yeah, they're actually not okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hopeful that this will start a conversation on many other things, and we can get a better format because it has not been in a good place since Doxa has been gone, as we've been kind of talking and covering.
It's gotten worse. I know we've talked a lot about like how meta shifts and things happen, but like right now, I think we're just in like this pure downswing of not just like the actual gameplay, but just a lot of situations in the format.
Yeah.
And again, we're not a drama channel, but we just wanted to address it real quick.
Yeah. With that out of the way, we're here to talk about Rog-Thrass, brother.
Yeah. Rog-Thrass Day.
It's good. Deck is bananas. And you know what? I don't know if you can truth check me here, but I feel like you were one of the people that was bringing that deck back into the conversation. I know you and somebody else worked on it together, but you were the one that went to the tournament, did well, started doing well, continue doing well, and people are now playing this deck quite a bit.
A lot. Yeah, shout out Snazerific. My buddy Ryan, he brought this to me, and I know I've talked about it on here, but just like, hey, you should play this. It looks really good. And I was like, okay. And then brought it to a bunch of tournaments, and it's been very, very, very good.
No, it's been an impressive run. I think like you've top caught definitely in every single large tournament you've gone to.
Yep.
And even top 4, 2 of them back to back almost.
It was Fishbowl, I got second. Right after that was Heisenberg, I got second. And then this one was the Open, I got fifth. And I was first in Swiss. So I just didn't make top 4, but still a crazy good run.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Those are 100 plus, 150 plus people tournament.
They were all 150 plus. 2 of them were 250 plus.
Yeah, like
unbelievable.
Also, plug in here for the boy, Joseph. He does coaching.
I do offer coaching.
100% can vouch for him. Dude's really good at the game. Understands the mechanics and knows the game pretty well, so he can reach out to Joseph if you want to learn more.
Yeah.
But with that, let's actually break the deck. Rog-Thrass, which is your baby, which again
down
in the computer now. We can go into more depth, and we can actually pull up cards and like really dive into the deck. So, looking at the deck, we have Rog-Thrass by Pigeon Eyes, Zen, Angry Ankle Biter, Pigeon Style.
Yep.
I like how you have actually, here's all the tournaments that you literally just said.
The 3 big ones, yeah.
Yeah, 10,000.
And then don't forget, sudden substitution is broken. I got that in there. I snuck it in there.
I like your picture too. Literally sudden substitution.
I think it's like the card I'm known for now, which is really funny, and I just like to show it off.
I remember it's been a conversation of you and I just talking about that card, brother.
For months now. Like, 5 months?
Since we started talking about TnT.
Yeah.
You're like, sudden substitution, TnT. I was like, go home.
Oh, it's so funny.
Wow, you're already using the new fancy arts from.
I'm excited. I've never quick little rant. I've never played Final Fantasy. I've never dived into it, but I like full arts, and these are full arts that might not be the coolest actual cards, but I'm just excited for them because like boring Rog and boring Thrass have been around for so long. I want new arts.
No, dude, 100%. I'm also getting the foil ones of Thrasios and Tin.
Oh, there was a Tim too. I remember we talked about.
We did talk about it, and I was like, "Nah, Wizards won't do there." And literally the following day.
The next day,
it was crazy. So this is Rog-Thrass. Tell me when you're playing Rog-Thrass, what is your role? What are you doing? Right? What is your game plan essentially?
So I think the biggest thing I'll always advocate for, and one thing I always look for, is just mana. Whether that be a way to find Cradle, a way to get a bunch of like ramp or Enduring Vitality or whatever. Just like I want turn 2, I want like 6+ mana if it's possible. Just like ramp. I don't really care about Fish or Ristic very often. Those are great plans.
Really?
But what
Okay.
I'm just looking for is the mana, because that mana later will get me to the cards I want. So if I can get there, I can just spin Thrasios and find a way. I think that's the hardest part about this deck compared to like TnT, TnK, whatever else. Like you just want mana, similar to Kinnan actually. Like that's it.
Okay. Do you consider this deck a turbo deck, a mid-range deck, a control deck? Where do you put it in the spectrum of decks?
I think it's very mid-rangey because I'll have games where I'll go like straight turbo, like turn 2, like I'm presenting a win,
Mhm.
or turn 4, I finally have like a bunch of engines and I'm just countering everyone's stuff and making sure they can't win. It's very, I can fall back onto either turbo or mid range, depending on what the pod is and what like the situation of the table is right now.
Okay. No, that's great insight because it helps to understand what your role is in the match,
Yeah.
right? Depending on seed order, which we know it's really tilted. If you're first place, if you're first seed, you're likely to win the match versus if you're fourth seed,
Much more likely.
you're playing defense, if you will. So I think that's a really good perspective. So let's go ahead and just dive into the deck, into all the card types that we have. We'll start with the battle. The one of battle that I think people play. I think the only one people play,
Pretty much,
which is
yeah.
Invasion of Ikoria.
This card's great. I think the thing some people are turned off a little bit is you can't get humans, which notably the 2 humans that matter, or the only 2 humans you play, are Eternal Witness and Spellseeker. Again, the only 2 humans we actually play, so it's not as relevant as some other things, but they are like 2 of our best creatures. It's another finale. It doesn't be a win con, but the notable thing you can do is you can either flicker it with Kitten and get like a Dryad Arbor because you control it, or you can bounce it with like a Chain of Vapor or this town is big enough to cast it again, which you can't really do with
Got
a. I know Nature's Rhythm is a little different, but
Finale,
like finale,
yeah.
or if you Eldritch, if you play Eldritch.
Greenstone Zenith.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
that's
that's a
the
very notable
upside.
part.
Okay, now that's really cool because, like
Yep.
you said, you do at some point when you're playing Rog-Thrass and you Kittens out, you can flicker the invasion
Get
and
Dryad Arbor.
get a driver, which is not nothing. I mean, it is something you can use in the future, right? Maybe not that
100%.
turn, but it's something you can use.
If you don't have anything else to flicker, it's just another free creature that also makes you mana later, or
Add for Gaia's Cradle.
and adds to Guy's Cradle. Another thing that is actually relevant that I've done many times is like swing into it. If you swing at it, hit it down to 6, get it to 0, you get an 8/8 with reach that actually has text. It says creatures you control with, what does it actually say?
For each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assign combat damage as though it weren't block.
So you
Is
get
it
to swing with
trample?
at least this 8/8, which is basically trample, even though they're blocking, and all your other creatures just like an extra little random combat kill. And again, even if you paid 3 mana for your invasion for like X is 1, you can get this 8/8 creature on turn 3 or 4, and that's helpful. It's helped a lot with creature cradle count or enduring vitality up, or again just a beater. It's a good
Yeah.
card.
No, I think it's a good point, and I know some decks don't run this card because they count on humans to do some of the heavy lifting, right? For example, hidden decks like TnT will be running, though they don't run this card because we have a lot of humans in our deck,
There's a lot of humans in that deck.
right? So, gosh, I was trying to catch myself. If you have a drinking game of me saying right on our podcast, you will end up like intoxicated.
Shot.
Every time I say right, you will be dead. I've been trying to watch myself. Sorry, tangent. Whew. Anyways, I think this card's really good in this deck for the specific reasons that you're not limited by the fact that they're non-humors. I do think Spellseeker and Eternal Witness are key cards in your deck,
100%.
but
They're the best creatures for sure.
but they're not like make or break the deck.
No.
They're just a lot of good cards that work well and synergize well with the rest of your game plan, essentially.
I agree.
So let's move on to creatures. 22 creatures, not as many as other decks, but I think all these creatures serve a purpose on this deck. And I guess let's just walk through the most impactful ones.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can, fill in the blanks as we see fit. So I think the first one is, I'm adding this one because this is my boy.
You bet on this card for I don't know how many years. Like so good. And especially in this deck where our whole game plan, we don't have like a Tymna backup, right? Or like a Crom or something. We have to like spend the mana and draw cards. Unless we have a Ristic or a Fish, this is all we're doing. It's the same with we'll get to later is Training Grounds. Like you want as many of these effects as you can. I play a lot of clones. A lot of the time, if I have one out, I'm cloning my own Biomancer. You
Really?
want 1 mana Thrasios spins.
That's really strong.
So good.
Yeah, you spend 1 mana to either draw a card or put a line to the battlefield. Is really strong.
And I have a bunch of ways that untap land. So like, oh, I found my Cradle. I'll play this thing that untaps a land and then immediately untap it and spin 6 more times or whatever because it's 1 mana. This card's great. So good.
Also helps with count creature for Gas Kratos, so it serves that.
Yep.
We don't use the adapt ability much of any ever. I don't
No.
think that's a thing. I don't know if you run Neoform or Sacrifice, like Eldritch Evolution and stuff like that. I guess we'll get to it obviously, but that's what I'm just like additional things that this creature could
use.
serve.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have a classic set of dorks. We have 1, 2.
3 if you count Magus of the Candelabra. That one's a little bit of a weird one though.
Where is that one, Magus?
It's on the far right. It's the green one.
The green one. Oh, who are you? I've never seen this card in my life.
So we'll talk about this one. How about we talk about this one?
Yeah,
we don't play a bunch of like 1-drop dorks for sure.
Okay.
But this one I've been recently put onto by Freedom Waffle. He's been talking about it because he's been playing a little bit of Rog-Thrass. And the actual thought process behind this is Candelabra is so
It's
good.
Candelabra. It's actually, yeah, that's what it is.
Candelabra, but it's summoning sick is the only issue.
Yeah.
The thing is though, it's a 1/2/1 mana, so it's another body. It's really easy to cast because it's green, and Biomancer helps with this a lot. Same with Training Grounds. If you have a Biomancer out, you pay 1 mana, untap 3 lands. That's what turned me onto this, and it's been very, very good so far. I was very skeptical for a long time though. I was like, I don't know, like it's summoning sick. You can't flicker it with Kitten, whatever. But no, this card's been very good. The fact that again, if you have a Biomancer and a Training Grounds out, you pay 1 mana, untap 5 lands. Like that is
that is really
so
strong.
good.
Also, notably, doesn't die to Orcish Bowmaster.
No,
it's a 1/2, so it's more or less safe.
Yeah.
I am curious on the lack of dorks. I was expecting, I'm more or less coming blind into your deck.
More dorks.
Yeah, I was expecting more dorks, and there isn't as many. Is that common, or is that just your take on the deck?
I think most of them don't play any. A few are on like Llanowar Elves and Finhorn Elves, but most of them aren't. The only other, I guess, dork is Dryad Arbor, which isn't here because it's in lands. But I don't. It's not really a dork. You're not casting it, so it's like, yeah. I think most of the deck does is just like find ways to abuse Cradle and like make creatures. So you don't really need a ton of actual like Birds of Paradise dorks or like Bloom Tender dorks, because the way your deck eventually gets into playing is like get the Enduring out or get some decks play Crypto Threat, same effect, and then they're all dorks, so it's kind of like a little redundant.
Sure.
But it's way better when we have what I'm gonna talk about next, Valley Floodcaller out. This card is so good. I know everyone else uses it for the flash speed, but this deck uses it for the untap the most out of like anything else.
Oh,
very
Birds of Paradise.
Birds. You have Thundertrap Trainer in there. You have itself. You have Mockingbird as anything. You have some other clones you can use. But basically, all you want to do is have either an Earthcraft out or an Enduring Vitality out with this. And if you can clone a Kinnan, that's even better. Card's great because it gives you flash. It untaps your stuff, makes it bigger to immune to Bowmaster, and makes you mana.
I see. Because if you make, say, for example, you're somehow able to get Thunderclap Trainer, right? That's the other one.
Yes.
And you have Aircraft
or Earthcraft. Yeah.
Right. You're making mana each time you cast a spell.
Exactly.
And that actually is really strong. And then to your point about having Kinnan, you're doubling the mana if you're copying Kinnan.
With Enduring, not Earthcraft, but still, same thing.
Yeah.
You're doubling it and like churning out mana for basically nothing, right? You can just cast like a Chromox and it triggers, untaps a bunch of stuff, and then you make a ton more mana.
So you don't play Valley Folklore because of the Flash Pit, or you play it in addition to the Flash Pit because it's both additional?
100% both. That's why this is way better than Trickster in this deck. Because you do play a lot of creatures, Trickster could be good, but this has just a second line of text that's just really good involuntarily. And I love it. That's
a great point. I did notice that you didn't have the Trickster. Yep. Have you thought about the Trickster at all in this game? For High-Fate Trickster?
I think if I was less on like a control game plan and played less counter spells, maybe, because like then I'd want to be winning on top.
Sure.
But this deck plays, we'll see later, a lot of interaction. So I'm less worried about like winning right now on top of your win. I'll just stop your win and then win later.
Okay.
But again, the flashes are still in there. We'll get to it later. But Born Upon a Wind, E-Zone, Floodcaller, all those that like
the 3 standard
instant speed win.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. I am seeing you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clones.
So Birds, Phantasmal Image, Phyrexian Metamorph, Flesh Duplicate, and Clever Impersonator.
Yep. So I'll just
5 clones.
Clever. Yep. Here's Flesh Duplicate, Mockingbird, Phantasmal Image, and Phyrexian Metamorph. 5 clones.
Yeah.
You like to play other people's decks, don't you?
Or I like to play my own deck twice.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing I'm seeing right now a lot in meta is like Rog-Thrass. So I'm seeing a lot of mirror match. I'll be like, oh, you have this value creature. I'm just gonna copy it.
You're missing the card that I'm missing for my deck to pop off essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the enduring vitality that I need right now because I have all these squirrels or all these creatures that aren't doing anything. But once I have access to your enduring vitality, we're off to the races.
I'm shooting for the stars. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going for it. And another thing, like I said earlier, like cloning a Biomancer or cloning an Eternal Witness or a Spellseeker, that matters a lot. Cloning a Displacer Kitten or a Cloud of Fairies, a lot of the time it's a Cloud of Fairies. Just keep churning, gives your creature count bigger. To deal with the Bowmaster problem that we always have to deal with in this deck, just get another dude out. I just made 2 creatures, I increased my Cradle, made it way better. Clones are really good right now. They were really good with Dockside. I think they're really good again right now.
Great. So there's 5 standard clones. Is there another clone that you've looked at, or is this 5 like the cap? Is that all the ones that are playable? Would you run another one? I guess there's an artifact vehicle creature.
So I was thinking a little bit about
Imposter
Mech. Yeah, I've thought about it. I think right now Sam Black is playing it, another very famous Rog-Thrass pilot. But the issue is it has to be your opponent's stuff for Imposter Mech.
Okay.
A lot of the time I am cloning my own stuff, so I'm like a little more iffy on it. But the fact that it's like unkillable Bowmaster is really good. Right?
Yeah.
Or like someone has a devoted druid, they're not gonna forget to sack it, but like it makes them sack it so they can't have it on board, right? That's pretty good. I don't think I would play a 5th though. I think or a 6th. I don't think I would play a 6. I'm already on 5. Like that's so many, and I don't think I have room for 5 already. But I'm playing 5, so we'll see what happens.
Sure. Okay. Keeping us moving, I'm gonna go on the utility creatures before we go into the big creatures.
Yeah.
I see. We already talked about enduring vitality. Makes all your creatures into mana dorks.
Yep.
Which is really good.
And when it dies, it comes back.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a consistent way to help you explode your mana, if you will.
Exactly.
We have Seaworm Muse, an all-star green staple.
My goodness gracious.
If you're playing Thrasios, your deck typically has Seaworm Muse in it. Sowing Mycospan, I think it's another value creature.
Yep.
I think this card is pretty good. It helps you get your gas card into play.
So good. It basically uncounterable. The only thing that really stops is this opposition agent.
Yeah.
Because no one's playing Stifle in this day and age, and if they are, I don't think they're stifling my tutor for Cradle into play. Maybe. But it's like 4 mana to give another body and almost always at least repay itself.
Yep.
Because I should have at least 3 other creatures on board 99% of the time.
You have it, Rog-Thrass, and Thrasios.
Yep.
At a minimum.
At bare minimum, it like makes 3 mana immediately from the Cradle. So like it's so good.
That is pretty good. Other value creatures that I see in the deck are, I think we already barely talk about it already, Spellseeker. There's a human creature that you're going to be able to flicker a lot with Displacer Kitten.
So good. This card is like one of the single-handed best cards. If they made another Spellseeker that was 2 or less or something like that, maybe even just like instant or sorcery, I think I would still play it because this card's insane. Flickering it with Kitten, cloning it, like I said, you just find pretty much anything in the deck except like Chord of Calling, Forces, and Swap. Besides that, I can find pretty much anything else I need, and that's so good.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Looking into, I think this is when you're gonna start correcting my knowledge of Rog-Thrass. I still think Cloud of Fairies is a value piece. I don't know if it gets used for combo pieces as well.
It's both.
It's both.
Oh, it's both. It's so good. I think what I'll explain, and we'll go next to Springheart and Antuco, but this card abuses the crap out of either Displacer Kitten or having a Gaia's Cradle. It doesn't have to be winning the game, but if I pay 2 mana and make 8 mana, what a good ritual, right? And I don't have to use it immediately. They're untapped lands now, so it's not like I have to float the mana and then do something with it. It's like, no, I just have these lands untapped now, and I can chill with them and use them later, spend Thrasios, or Finale for 5, good luck. And that's so good.
No, this card is good. I think it's a weird thing because this is by itself a good value creature, but it's also a combo piece, similar like Displacer Kitten, which we can talk about next. Great value creature, impossible to kill most of the time because you can just like flicker itself, right?
It can be itself.
Which will just make a effect to fizzle. It also helps with combos, like you just said. Like these two can combo each other essentially.
100%. And again, real quick, this is clearly a Simic plus red deck. This is a teamer deck. We don't have Grand Abolishers. We don't have tutors. We don't have silence. We have to like find unique ways to win and push. And a lot of that time, it's less interactable than other decks because they're expecting a tutor for a win you counter or a silence that they have to stop or whatever. This deck plays so many good creatures that are like, I have to have 4 Force of Wills for this guy, really? Like, I can't have
Yeah.
that many. It's hard to do. And it just feels so good.
You have to like interact with this on the stack.
Yes, exactly.
Because otherwise it gets almost impossible to touch anything on your board, which is like we talked about. You have a Gaia's Cradle in the deck, so your board is very important to you, and you using all the creatures in it is very important. Other couple value cards, it's standard Clap Trainer by itself is just an ETB effect, but if you're bouncing it a bunch with Displacer Kit, then the values
keep churning, keep churning.
You're finding all the counter spells you're finding for your counter battle, right?
Exactly.
And then you have the Spring Hardened Tuco. I've seen this card pop up with Gaia's Cradle because it can create tokens of anything you bestow.
Exactly.
So if you bestow like say a Spellseeker, or you bestow say
Cloud of
Fairies.
Oh my gosh. This card's insane. I think it's one of the most volatile cards in the deck because you can most of the time I just cast it. I don't want to look scary, so I'll just be like, oh, I'll cast it and make some dudes, which adds to my cradle count, which is good. But a lot of the other time I'm like, value clone on the board. I'm just going to copy it and then have another thing that I cloned, or a second Fairy Mastermind, or a second Valley Flood Caller is really good because you get 2 untaps every time. Very good.
Yeah.
Cloud of Fairies, Displacer Kitten, anything, right? Eternal Witness, Spellseeker, Biomancer's Familiar. I want as many creatures out as I can, and it's pretty easy to pay 1 and a green to clone it. That also makes me another creature, and then usually gets me another ETB effect. And I just keep churning and churning and churning and churning. And it's like clockwork. I just keep moving along and like, oh, you can't stop me because all I did was put a land into play. I didn't cast anything. Churn, 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 churn. It's hard to deal with.
Yeah, it's very consistent too. And it's very difficult to like, even if your board gets a little wiped, you can. It sounds like you can recover pretty easily.
Exactly. Other good part is if you bestow it, it's an enchantment aura. So if that creature dies,
it comes
back on the board.
Yeah.
It's just sitting on the board still. And that's amazing.
Moving us to, we have a couple more creatures to cover. I think Eternal Witness, everybody knows, is a pretty good card that just recurs. Your cards, I don't know if you have the Lightning Bolt combo in this deck.
I do not.
So this is just other ways you can probably kill, like be a brain freeze or something like that if your Breach is dead or something.
A lot of also Snap Eternal Witness is a line, one of the best lines. Also just value, or like with Kitten, just get like Lotus Petal. Eternal Witness is like sometimes a loop itself. Very good. And I think the last big notable one is a Boros Breach Caller. People have been talking about this card for like 2 or 3 months now. It's maybe single-handedly the best card in the deck besides Cradle. If this lands, even if I'm not winning with it right away, I just spend 2 mana to untap a Cradle, bounce a land to my hand. Well, I just got a ton of free value for 2 mana. I bounce my Boseiju or my Otawara, and now I'm using that.
You have interaction now
because it's in my hand. And then obviously it goes infinite with Talon Gates and a certain amount of creatures. Like, this card is phenomenal. It's also just a flyer for no reason. So like, worst case is I block something with flying with it. I don't know. That's not relevant. Blocks a Crom. Not relevant, but it can do the thing. This card is amazing. So good. The fact that you can use it immediately is like way better. Oh.
No, this card is good. And you, like you said, Talon's Gate, it's, I don't know if you can interact. You can't interact with it, right?
Not particularly. I mean, you'd have to have like multiple deflecting spots. Because if I have enough mana, I just respond to your interaction. I'm like, okay, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
And then I'll put it into play and then I'll do it again. Because I pay the cost of bouncing it to my hand. So you can't interact with that. The cost is paid, it's already in my hand. And you're like, what do we do, guys? Kill it. I'm like, oh, in response, put it on the field and do it again. It's so hard to deal with if it lands. This is like a kill on sight. It's like I wouldn't say grand abolisher of the deck, but it's like you need to deal with this or you immediately lose card in this deck.
Yeah, it's like a silent killer. If you don't know how it wins, it can definitely take you out of the game.
Oh, 100%. Like, oh, he just got this Cradle and Talon Gates. I didn't even see it. Oh, we're just dead.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have a Force of Will for this Boros Breach Caller. We're dead. GG.
Which creature, right? We talked about in our last conversation how difficult it is to interact with creatures in the battlefield.
So much.
Because you only have a limited amount of resources on the battlefield alone, and then your counter spells to interact with something on the stack.
Which are most of the time non-creature.
Exactly. It's very limited.
Yeah. I think that's it for the creature package. Everything else is pretty standard.
Yeah. Actually, I know we've talked a lot about creatures, but I just want to help people because this deck is, you're going to see this deck. If you go to a tournament, you're going to be seeing Rog-Thrass. This deck is
right now
not even, it's not the flavor of the month, it's the flavor of the couple months. It's probably the flavor of the summer.
I think so.
Unless Final Fantasy like spoils something new or like something changes, this deck is going to be a powerhouse for the next at least couple months.
Until something changes in the meta, yeah.
So with that, what is the weakness when it comes to creatures? how do you if you're not playing Rog-Thrass, what is it when someone does something to your board that you're like, well, that really set me behind?
This might sound pretty silly, and I think to a lot of people it is kind of silly. The way you deal with this deck most of the time is killing Thrasios. It's gonna sound stupid, right? You're like, well, why would killing Thrasios matter? What would that do? Most of my game plan is just like spending 4 mana, spending Thrasios, or 2 if I have a discount. If you deal with it on not my turn, that makes me have to immediately spend all my mana right then, or as much mana as I want to spend, to spin when I don't want to, and I don't have it for later, and I'll have to cast it for 4 again. Yeah, I can cast it again. That's not the point. Like, I'm getting free value for 4 mana. I'm not playing Aristic per se every time, but I am doing that, and like you're slowing down my production, my lands coming onto the battlefield if it's lands, my creature count for Cradle, all of these things. It's like very strange, but the correct thing to do if I'm on the grind plan. If I'm on turbo, then you just gotta like you gotta deal something big. You gotta kill one of the.
You have to have like Ristic Study and be ready, be smart about how you're playing your spells on this deck.
Exactly. But that's my biggest advice I give to people playing against it. I think it's surprisingly just kill Thrasios a lot.
You're
like
the
over
reason
and over and over.
You're the reason people will. I will cast my Thrasios and somebody will resculpt it on the spot. It's like, what are you doing?
On the spot is crazy, but if you're in like a good position, I get it. I don't know.
I wasn't.
Some time. Oh, there's been some times people have killed my Thrasios. I've been like, look, it's turn 1. What's happening right now? But it's pretty tough. It depends very much on situation for sure.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's a good advice and valuable for people to just think about it, because it is all about threat assessing too, right?
100%.
So I think that's a good conversation on creatures and how to maybe, weaken the deck a little bit so it doesn't fully take off, because uninteracted, this deck will just win.
Absolutely.
They can have like 2 cards in hand and they will just win the game out of nowhere.
It happens so often. I'll be like, I'll show you my 2 cards. Like, hey, I have this random Force of Negation for my turn and not a blue card. And then I'll just top deck a card, cast it, win the game. Like, it's just that simple. Like, I don't need anything. I don't have to be scary. I will just randomly win the game a lot.
They will draw cards in their turn. And if they don't draw cards, they'll cast a Seaworm Muse and do it again.
Yeah.
Or just they just flicker things.
Or again, Cloud of Fairies. I spent 2 mana to make 8 mana. Oh, I'll keep spinning. Oh, I found a win. GG.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep us moving into, I think it's Sorceries next.
Yes,
I'm so good at this game. Wow. I already see Green Sun Zenith, Finale Devastation, Nature's Rhythm. Similar cards, very different, because one of them will actually is a win con.
Yep.
Let's just start with Green Sun Zenith because it's the most wholesome, most unique one, if you will.
Absolutely.
Also a win con.
It's part of a win con also, which is crazy. We'll get to that in a second, but it's just another creature tutor. A lot of my best creatures are blue, which is fine, but getting an Enduring Vitality or getting an Eternal Witness or getting a Birds of Paradise or a Dryad Arbor is very relevant early game. And I just want to be ramping. Like I said earlier, I just want as much mana as I can get by turn 2, and then I'll figure it out from there. If I don't have a game plan, it's mana. So it's churn, make mana. It's also a win condition. If you saw earlier, we didn't talk about it a lot, but Fairy Mastermind, usually a value engine. You can, let's say you've resolved a Veil of Summer, you're going for win. Let's say your Breach and everything else is exiled. Your Finale is exiled. Your Breach is exiled.
You're in the sucky plan.
Oh yeah, you're in like everything is screwed. How do I win? You can activate Mastermind and then cast Green Sun Zenith, and then activate Mastermind and cast Green Sun Zenith. You have no cards in your library, but Green Sun shuffles in. So you just keep drawing that same Green Sun Zenith and casting it again for 0. And as long as you have enough counter spells and Veil resolved, like you will still win no matter what. You just have to like play around a few mind breaks, and you're like, okay, my counter spell for mind break, I have randomly Veil resolved. Like, what do? You can't target me. You can't target my creatures. My creatures are uncounterable. Like, what do you do?
Mind break the mind break.
Mind break the mind break. Okay.
So you need 3 counter spells, right?
Exactly. And you have your whole deck in your hands, so you're good to go again. No cards in library besides Green Suns, so you're good to go.
You have to be careful not to give your opponents too many cards, because they might just win on top.
100%.
Like that could also be a thing that happens. Your whole deck in your hand, you should be able to win the game, and you can always respond to your opponents doing something too if you have flash speed, if you will. But I guess when the spell's on the stack, it becomes really difficult.
And again, you're not doing this unless you're like fully set up to win. You're not just like randomly giving them their whole deck. It's like very meticulous. Like I resolved a.
You're crossing your T's, you're dotting your I's before you do this.
Like this is the only out I have and the way I win, but it's just a little complicated is a thing.
Yeah.
Card's great. I love it. Love it.
Yeah. So this is also for folks that don't use it. It's just literally a tutor. Turn 0, turn 1, you can get a Dread Arbor and you start with 2 lands into the battlefield, which is really strong. Otherwise, it's just tutors for green creatures, which we already saw off. There's a bunch of good green creatures in this deck.
So many good creatures.
Nature's Rhythm is one of the newest edition. I think we talked about it last time when we were talking about the TnT Corner.
Oh yeah.
Go for it.
This card is also its own just win con. I'll
the win con.
I'll tutor for something value. Let's again Cloud of Fairies. Cool. I'll untap some stuff, my Cradle and another land, and then I'll just cast it again. So I just increased my creature count twice for the 2 creatures I tutored for. It goes to exile, sure, whatever. But I'm getting either a massive value or a win on the stack because I'm getting like something in Kitten.
You're getting Displacer Kitten
and
something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the second cast will flicker whatever I want to flicker, and then I'll keep going, and then I'll get the creature that I want to flicker with. Look, I just win the game off of 1 tutor. If you didn't have anything for my 2 casts of Nature's Rhythm, you lose the game. Like, another good value piece like Finale though finds any creature X or less. Just from deck this time. Finale does say from graveyard also. But this has probably been the best inclusion we've gotten from a recent set, like by far. Again, this card's bonkers good. You're playing it in TnT. You're playing an evergreen deck right now. Kinnan is loving it. I think this is
another Finale station in your graveyard.
Exactly.
If you're top decking cards, here you go. It's done. And if you cast it, it gets countered. It's like, okay, well,
I'll just cast it again.
Yeah.
From graveyard. Yeah, sick.
Exactly.
So good.
Finale Station is pretty similar. It gets a 1-turn effect, but I think this one's pretty standard. It's been on cEDH for a while. It just puts a creature into the battlefield, and if you have infinite mana, you just go to combat, and you will kill your opponents with infinite damage.
Exactly. I've also done it before in, again, tournaments and regular games. Like, oh, I have 12 mana. I have 12 dudes out. Finale for 10. I'll just swing with 12 +10/+10 creatures and just kill you guys. And like, what? I'm like, yeah. I don't have to like have a win condition. I just have to attack you guys sometimes. It's very relevant in this deck specifically. And the thing right next to it, Chatterstorm helps out a lot, right? Like I have a bunch of small bodies, but if they're 11/11s, like you have to block 4. You if you don't block 4 of them, you're dead, no matter what.
You have to.
Yeah. So such a good card. Finale is just one of the best cards in cEDH.
Tempest with the okay. I also wanted to play this card in TnT, but I was like, I am cooked. I'm doing some meth or something.
My gosh. This one is really good, but I think it's right now on the chopping block a little bit.
Okay.
Probably
it's probably gonna be gone by this.
It'll probably be what I cut next. But this card is really good. Recently, when this deck was having an upswing and like people were starting to learn about it, I just started playing this because they'll be like, oh well, it'll get his Cradle. Sure, I need to land. I'm behind. I didn't get like a early ramp or draw engine or whatever. Especially if it's turn 1 or turn 2. And then I just get 4 lands into play. So I spent 4 mana to get a Guy's Cradle and 3 other lands, which are usually untapper land, some other thing like Shifting Woodland or E-Zone, and then like a tropical island or whatever. And I just like super ramped myself, super got ahead of you, even though you ramped, right? You got land. And I don't care that you ramped because I just did 3 times as much for 4 mana. And it like replaces itself 95% of the time. Even if they don't take the tempt, I still just put a Cradle into play on.
And that's still pretty good.
It's great. I love it. It's the whole thing my deck's trying to do. Just play Guy's Cradle.
Yeah.
Such a good card. I do think it's probably what I'm cutting soon because I'm very tight on slots. But this card's been great so far.
Shatterstorm is just a win con with Finale, or sometimes this will also just help your Guy's Cradles
massively
count go up.
Gosh.
So really good, and you can always return it with Eternal Witness. So just cast it again.
Oh yeah.
Gamble. This goes with your Breach combo. It's also a really good card. Just a tutor. Sometimes you're writing tombs, but it is what it is.
Tutor any card in your deck can't be bad. Even if you discard it, like again, we play so many ways to get things back from the graveyard. You'll see later Noxious Revival, Eternal Witness, the Finale and Invasion get creatures back from graveyard. So, like there's plenty of ways to do it. And you don't really care most of the time. Like, okay, it's just I tutored it to grave. Oh well. I'll still just play the rest of my game like I was for normal.
Like you would, yeah.
Yeah.
So
good.
That is kind of the sorcerers. They're all really strong.
Malevolent Rumble.
Sorry, common to drop.
Malevolent Rumble. It's $1.29 common. Sheesh. This card's actually really good. Some people don't love it as much, but basically reveal the top 4 of your library. You may put a permanent from them into your hand and then put the rest in your grave. So you're milling 3 cards at least, if not 4, and you also make a 0/1 spawn that cracks for colorless. It doesn't tap for colorless, it cracks for colorless. So it increases your Cradle count, gives you mana, and finds you a card. I think this is one of the best 2-drop commons that have been printed like ever. Like this card's so good. Sees a lot of modern play, some like weird format play too. It's been very good.
I like that he makes the body as well for Gas Cradle. He keeps going back to Gas Cradle. All roads lead to Gas
That's
Cradle.
all the deck cares about. Like, if you blow up my cradle, I'm gonna find a way to get back my cradle. Like, okay, we'll just do it again.
We'll try again.
Yeah,
And it's hard to interact with Cradle, right? Sorry.
it's very hard to interact with the cradle. Yeah,
Boseiju is one of the only ways.
and then what?
Wasteland.
Sure. If we're playing Wasteland for this deck, I think I'm cool
U41.
with it.
U41.
I think I'm cool with it. Yeah. You're playing a colorless land that takes
Soy
away.
Makosen.
True. If you pay 6 mana to kick it and exile my cradle, you got it.
You got it. You got it, Buck.
I've actually never kicked that card. Most everything in this deck I've like used modally and used other versions, but never that. Even against other Rog-Thrass, it's like meh,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's not worth paying the extra 2 mana.
I don't think so, and it has to be colorless, and also it has to be very specific. Like if they're popping off on Rog-Thrass, I'll do it, but
Sure. Because I mean, I can see the world that somebody's really ahead. I'm gonna get rid of their Kato because I'm already paying 6. I'm not gonna use anything else with my Soul Ring mana or whatever. So I'll just do it.
or Mana Vault, right? If you're
Yeah,
Mana Vault or
exactly.
something, it's definitely relevant. I just haven't ever had it come up.
Sure.
It exists. It does exist.
Okay. Sorceries. Now let's move on to Instants, which is I think a pretty standard setup. Just looking through the cards here, none of them just. Oh, there's a couple that I'm like, eh.
There's definitely a few funky ones, but most of this, what we can go through is like Fierce, Flare of the
Yeah.
Nile, Flare.
Let's just count the counter spells. The typical interactions is 1.
Four.
Deflection Swat's 1.
Yeah.
Fierce is 2. Flare of the Nile's 3. Flare Duplications 4. Plus Storm's 5. Force of Negation 6. Force of Will 7. Mind Break is 8. Back. His step is 9. Back is 10.
That's like the
Veil of Summer is 11.
counters,
If you want to
I
count.
think Veil's half of a counter spell,
Yeah. So 11. That's a lot.
That's so much.
That is quite a lot.
right? Yeah.
Holy cow.
And almost all those are free. Like the only ones that aren't are Flusterstorm and Veil.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm casting for free. That means the times I do have either a draw engine or a Thrasios spin, it's pretty likely I hit a free card or a free interaction piece because, like, again, if I don't like it, I bottom it. I'm seeing 2 cards for 4 mana, and if 10 of them are free, or 8 of them are free, that's like a 1 in 10 chance to just hit a free interaction spell. That's great. That's what this deck wants to do. Again, it's a little more mid-rangey, where you can either turbo or control, and grind, which is great. There's also some more interaction pieces there. The boring ones are like Chain of Vapor and Psych Rift. You can definitely combo with Chain of Vapor, but most of the time it's a bounce spell. Overloading Rift is very, very good.
Very easy for you to do, I assume.
Oh yeah. Gaia's Cradle tapped for 6, pay 1 blue. That's 2 lands for an Overload Rift.
Yeah. That can be backbreaking.
It's so good, especially early. Like, oh, you just developed everything, turn 2. I'm just gonna turn 2 Overloaded Rift, and you're like, what? Well, I don't have any lands now. My Chromox have to pitch in the card. I'm like, yeah. Awesome.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Sounds good. Anything else? Cool. I'll go to my turn with 11 mana and do the thing.
I see that you only have Chain of Vapor, Cyclonic Rift, and I guess technically Snap as a way to interact with creatures in the battlefield.
This town ain't big enough is there as well. That one is
Sorry, I've never read this card in my life.
Here, we can pull this up and read it. Basically, it says it's 4 and a blue, but it costs 3 less if it targets a permanent you control. So it's returned up
it's
to
like
2 non-land permanents.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So a lot of the time, if I don't have something good to bounce, like value, like a Cloud of Fairies, I'll just bounce Rograkh.
And you can bounce your own things too, right?
I can
So
bounce 2 of my own things if I want to.
or
Exactly.
2 of somebody else's things.
I can pay 5 to bounce 2 of someone else's things.
Yeah.
If I want to pay 2, though, it's 1 of mine, 1 of theirs.
Yeah.
But still, another good interaction. Because we don't play kill spells, we don't have white for like swords or
Sure.
swords or
Path to Exile.
yeah, Path to Exile. I couldn't think of it. So we don't get exile cards, but we get all the bounces, and most of the time that's enough.
Okay.
I love it.
So that's one of the spicy ones. I see this card, which I can't read because I don't speak Russian. But what is this card? I've never heard of this card before.
Sudden Substitution. Here, right click that one. We'll get a
right click that.
view details on that. I'll describe it. It's my spicy card, but it says split second. So as long as the spell is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. Exchange target non-creature spell and target creature. Then the spell's controller may choose new targets. So basically, it's I either take your creature and give you a spell, a non-creature spell, or I'll take your non-creature spell from my creature, which is really good when I have a bunch of random squirrels or insects or Rograkh or whatever, which is most of the time what I'm doing, taking a spell. But it's also good because like I can screw over Raoul and this player and give them what he was casting for their creature, and I screw them both over. Card's very modal. It's expensive for sure, 2 and 2 blue. But it changes games very quickly, and I really do like it a lot.
The split second's really good.
Oh my gosh. The best part of this card. People always are like, oh, I'll respond. I'm like, nope. You can make some mana. You can tap your Birds of Paradise, but what, no, you can't respond. Good luck.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everybody else. Again, there's so few split second cards for good reason, because they are like incredibly, I don't want to say busted, but like incredibly change the gamey, where you just can't do anything. And that feels so good.
A couple more cards to jump at me. We already talked about Noxus Rival as a way to do some recursion. We have Frantic Search is the only one that kind of just like jumps at me. Is like, okay,
yeah,
what you thinking?
The biggest thing is like Snap is one of the best cards in this deck.
Agreed.
It's a removal piece and also untaps your lands or a ritual or both. I wanted just another effect of it, and Frantic Search has existed for a long time. It was still in Urza's Saga, Urza's Legacy, and it does the same thing for 1 more mana basically. But I get to filter some cards too. So I'm like, oh, I have these 2 lands in my hand I don't want. I'll draw 2, discard the 2 lands, untap 3 lands. So not only
Guy's Cradle and top that untapper and something else.
Exactly, like another blue source or whatever. So worst case scenario, even if I don't have Cradle, if I have 3 boring lands, I just played this free draw 2, discard 2, right?
That is the speed.
Or I make even more mana than Snap does because it's 3 lands, and that's great. These are also notable that you can untap your opponent's lands if need be. So like, hey guys, I have this Flusterstorm, I can't cast it. Can someone untap one of my lands? I'm like, I got you. Let me untap your command tower, and now you can Flusterstorm this, and we don't lose the game.
Okay.
Very relevant, and I still get to untap 2 of my own lands if I do that. It's 3 lands for Frantic Search.
Okay.
I love this card.
I can see, I can get behind it. Born Opponent Wins is standard cEDH staple, just flash
Easy.
speed, and brain freeze is just a win con that wins with Underworld Breach or Fairy Mastermind.
Exactly.
Either or of them would work. I think that's all the instances. I mean, it's more or less a standard set.
Yeah, Court of Calling's another creature tutor.
Sure.
That one's really good because again, we play so many creatures. So like again, tap 8 squirrels, cord for 5 for 0 mana. That's pretty good. And then I think the last one is crop rotation. But that's another way to find Guy's Cradle. 99% of it
seems to me like Opposition Agent, Gravedigger's Cage, or non-relic of whatever, the one that prevents permanence. It's a Italian card, an artifact.
Is it the 2-drop?
Yeah, it's a 2-drop.
Oh my gosh. It's like better than Cage.
It's better than Cage, but it's subs permanence. Non-land permanence.
We'll have to come back to it, but I know what card you're talking about. It's like another Grafdigger's Cage. Basically.
It's a Grafdigger's Cage in steroids.
Yeah.
So I feel like those guys, to get back to the point, is like I feel like that is
the best way to screw this deck.
The weakness of the deck.
100%.
If you're running Opposition Agent, if you're running Grafdigger's Cage, if you're running unnamed card, then maybe I'll put in post that during, maybe I won't.
I'll think of it at some point. Don't worry, we'll get there.
You'll see that you can't access your deck, and your deck is more or less shut down because now you're having to draw card, which is the deck does pretty well. It looks like, but you're also counting on those tutors to get your value pieces into the battlefield.
Exactly. I think the issue with those cards right now is most lists are on either Underworld Breach style effects or putting creatures into play, like this one is, or both. Like this is on both, right? So it's really hard for the meta to play those as well as they might be. But if you're a deck that can play those cards, play them right now. Like it is the time to play them. You'll screw so much of the meta over because again, Grafdigger Cage also stops Breach. You can't cast spells from your graveyard. So relevant, even if it's not dealing with this deck.
Everybody tutors, fetches.
Oh yeah,
tutors are very. That's why cEDH. We have a lot of tutors
100%.
for redundancy, and Opposition Agent stops all of that. And I think that card is good. People apparently, according to you, people start playing it.
People have been playing it much less recently, which is very surprising to me. If I could play black and I'm not on Rog side, I think I'm playing Opposition Agent 99% of the time. Again, especially right now, so many people are like, "Oh, I'll just do this tutor pass." When they're going to set up for a win next turn, right? Weathered Runestone, you got it. There it is. Boom. There we go. So non-land permanent cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter. So this is anything except like fetch lands can't enter the battlefield, basically.
And they still can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries.
Still can't cast spells from the graveyards or libraries. The libraries one's not relevant. We don't play Panglacial Worm in this format. Yeah. But graveyards, again, Underworld Breach. Or Nature's Rhythm now, too.
So yeah, this card, it's a stacks card. I see it a lot in Italian.
100%.
But aside from that, I don't see it as much. The card's just good, and I'm just maybe like Dowling, because where Dowling starts doing the thing again, because Dowling does run a lot of those cards.
They run a lot of those cards. Surprisingly, I think they're going to stop playing this because some of them are playing Gifts Ungiven piles now, which stops their Snapcaster Mage lines.
with the
Because you
whole
can't cast it from your
Snapcaster and
graveyard.
Tomb or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is like an all-time low for this card in the format.
Yeah.
It's good
Which
for me.
makes your
but-
deck that much better,
oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the hard part. I
Okay.
think that's all the instants. Yeah.
Let's keep us moving to artifacts. I think most of these are pretty standard with one non-exemption. Well, the three exceptions. Lineside Diamonds just for your breach combos.
Yep.
Everything else is rocks. The One Ring's a good card.
Yep.
The ones that just jumped at me are, I think we already kind of talked about the creature version of this, but it's Calandra, Tavinos, Town.
Candelabra Tanos. It's hard to read because it's the same color as the background. But basically, it doesn't actually read like that. It's a tap ability. So tap, pay X, untap X lands. Same as the creature, but on an artifact. Really, really good with Displacer Kitten. Really, really good with Gaia's Cradle. Really, really good with untapper lands. So you untap all of your lands with this, and then you have a Cradle and another 2 untapper lands, and you just keep going. You churn, you spin Thrasios. Very good card.
And then Expedition Map being the other one. I think this is a modern all-star for Tron.
So good.
Pay 2, get a land, and then you play that.
And guess what? Most of the time it's Cradle, but sometimes it's a Beseiju. Sometimes it's a Talon Gates. Sometimes it's an Odawara, right? Or an Emergence Zone. And I'm just like, I'll do the thing later. I don't need to win right now. I can find interaction with this, which is really good when you play, again, Beseiju and Odawara.
Keeping us moving to enchantments, I think a lot of these are somewhat standard. So we have the Underworld Reach packet, pretty standard for if you're running Brain Freeze LED. Training Grounds, we already talked about the enchantment version of Biomancer's Familiar.
Very good card.
Risk Exciting Mystic Remora, we all know and we all hate. Aircraft, we slightly talked about it, but it's also a value card and a combo piece. Essentially, it helps if you have a basic land type, you can just tap your creatures to untap the land, essentially, right?
Exactly. And that's why we play both a forest and a island. We don't play a mountain because there's not very red cards, as you might have seen.
Yeah.
But we play both because it's like such a good effect. Even if you're not comboing with it, you're just all your creatures now tap for mana, basically, which is great.
Yeah. Another couple standard ones that I've seen a lot is Utopia Sprawl and Wild Growth essentially makes one of your lands tap for 2. One of them I think is fixed for green and the other one can be any color.
Yes. The Utopia Sprawl does have to be a forest.
So you have to
it's a little more restrictive, but you get to pick a color. So I can make my land tap for an extra blue now. A little harder to cast, or not cast, but like make work. But I think the upside is way better. And most of the time that's with Earthcraft as well. Not all the time, but like, oh, now my basic forest taps for a blue and a green.
That's pretty good.
And every creature makes me a blue and a green.
That's pretty good.
So good.
Yeah.
The only other weird one is Growing Rights of Itlimoc.
Yep, this is kind of the spicy one I want you to kind of just talk about.
This card is so good. Basically it says when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Notably puts them in any order. So if I don't want the card, I put it on bottom. And then at the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform it. The backside is just Gaia's Cradle, but it also taps for green if I have no creatures. So it's a little bit better than Gaia's Cradle. This card is great.
Yep.
So if I get board wiped, I still have
tap a playable land.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So good. It's a second Gaia's Cradle. You can't like crop rotation it into play, but the effect it gives you is also good. Look at top 4 for a creature. This deck loves its creatures. Awesome. And then make a ton of mana later. Very, very good card. I love it.
Great.
I remember, wow, it's at $6. That card used to be like maybe $2.50. It's like
double. It's an EDH stable. With a lot of people used to play. These cards used to be worth $20 on EDH. I know that because I tried to buy one at some point, and it's just gone. It's been printed to oblivion.
Yeah. I think it's
like a lot of things.
Yeah.
that Wizards prints. There is a bunch of lands. I feel like a lot of these are pretty stable lands. I'm going to focus on the ones that matter. So we've already talked about Beseiju.
Yep.
That's your interaction against any enchantments or artifacts. And it's also a green source. Otawara is your way to bounce creatures or in any non-land permanent.
Including your own. I really want to be notable here. A lot of people forget that you can bounce your own stuff with Otawara. So if I need the combo, I can bounce my Spellseeker and do it again. Very, very relevant.
So the lands that are kind of unique to this deck are Urza Saga. I actually don't see played much of ever anywhere else. This gets your map, your Soul Ring.
Map, Soul Ring, Candelabra.
Candelabra, very important. Okay.
Mana Vault if need be, or just like, I've done it for like a Mox Ruby because it's Mox Amber, but Mox Ruby in this deck.
Sure.
It's pretty good. It's just good. I've also made a lot of constructs with it because it adds to creature count. If I'm not doing anything else,
you have mana to do something. Sure.
Exactly.
At end step. Sure.
Yeah.
One of the untappers, it's 1 or 2, right?
Yep.
It's Deserted Temple
and Minamo,
which is right here.
Desert Temple is any land, so that's good. It could be, again, same with like a snap argument. It could be your opponent's lands, right? That's helpful. Or just untap your Cradle for 8. Just keep going. Manamo is great. It's any legendary permanent. That includes Guy's Cradle, obviously, but also like the One Ring, or if you're copying some weird legendary with Metamorph for a clone, it can untap that too.
Yeah.
And that's pretty nice.
Dryad Arbor is one of the creatures we already talked about.
100%.
Just a creature land
Yep.
that you can get with Greenstone Zenith for 0. Gaia's Cradle is the name of the deck.
Oh yeah.
Should literally be named Gaia's Cradle, to be honest.
I do also want to note Dryad Arbor is good because you can play, let's say you have a Windswept Heath in play, you can fetch for a Dryad Arbor because it's a forest, right? As long as you can tutor for a forest, you can put it into play. Like end step, I don't have a turn 1 play. I'll just play a fetch, get a Dryad Arbor turn 1. So now I have a land that still taps for green and it helps my Cradle count. So next turn when I play Cradle, it's already at 2. That's very, very relevant.
Something that gets unseen is because you have Rograkh, your Cradle will almost all the time will tap for green. Exactly. A single green immediately.
No matter what, unless they play turn 1 Vexing Bauble, which is pretty rare. It's like
throw the game.
Yeah,
throw the
sounds
game.
good. Like okay, and then even then I can go okay, cast Rograkh, have it get sacked, cast Rograkh for 2 mana.
Yeah,
and then I still have a creature out. It's just great.
So that's really good. I think one of the last lands we haven't talked about is Shifting Woodland, which I think this card is really good. I took it out of TnT because it's just really hard to cast or play with, but I feel like for your deck, it's just easy.
So good in this deck. Getting back like an Underworld Breach if you get stopped, or getting back your Gaia's Cradle every turn is really good. Getting back any value like enchantment for a turn. Oh, well, this guy's trying to push. I'm gonna get back my Mystic Remora just for this turn, but I'll draw the 6 cards I need to stop him or whatever. Very good card. It also means like if I have a Cloud of Fairies in bin, I can copy it and then clone it. And if the clone in my hand needs that to win. I think this card is just very good in the format right now, especially on things like Teamer, where you don't have a ton of options. It helps you redo one of your few win lines because it's really hard to interact with, right? You almost have to always have Delirium in this deck. A lot of things go to graveyard, a lot of fetch lands or instants and sorceries and creatures, whatever. So it's much easier to be online than a lot of decks too. And the 4 mana cost isn't that rough. It's like all we do is make green mana. I'll just have my Cradle for 8 and I'll just have a ton left over. I'll be fine. I love it a lot.
And then lastly, I think we talked about already, Stalin Gates Omadara.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this card.
It was a good way to interact with something because of its last ability. You just pay for mana, put into the battlefield, and it can exile or face something out. So this can interact with the Grand Abolisher if you want. Or it can also, it's a mana ability that you can use and put into the battlefield, and you can maybe use another creature to win the game with that.
So good.
As we already talked about.
Caller.
Yeah.
The most notable part is that it is just a activated ability, so you can just do it from your hand. Like I said, the Grand Abolisher is out. Sounds good. I'll tap my 4 lands and put it into play. That gets around Grand Abolisher. That gets around
or flow your mana with the Soul Ring or whatever.
Exactly. That gets around all of these things, right? Also just stops like a Bowmaster for a turn cycle if that would stop you. It stops one of your things getting exiled to a Swords to Plowshares and just it'll come back. Very volatile card. Also helps filter mana if you have a ton of green. I can pay 1 and then tap this for a blue instead, and it filters a little bit. I love this card so much.
Oh, right on.
I think there's one more weird one. It's Mistrise Village.
Oh yeah, makes sorry.
No,
Card's new. It's makes your spells uncounterable.
Yep.
Makes one of it relevant.
Similar to Woodland though, it'll enter untapped or enter tapped unless you control a mountain or forest, which a lot of this deck just has a ton of.
Forests.
Most
specifically.
Forest, yeah. But you can tap, activate it, the next spell you cast can't be countered. Do you know how relevant that is? It doesn't say non-creature spell. It doesn't say instant or sorcery. Any spell. My Displacer Kitten, uncounterable. My Underworld Breach, uncounterable. Like
you have to win on top at this point.
Pretty much. It's like letting the Grand Abolisher resolve. There's like you're screwed. You're damned if you.
Here's my Grand Breach, and I already have all the pieces I need
and protection for it, and it's uncounterable. So very, very good card.
Oh, that's Rog-Thrass, folks.
Yep. And I did have one spicy card I wanted to talk about.
Okay. You have it.
It was on that Weathered Runestone.
Oh no.
Hit back. No, you're fine. This is one I'm probably gonna test soon, but it's a little weird. A very notable casual card. It's called Serath, the Viper's Fang. It's a legendary 3/4. Other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. So basically, if you're attacking with something, it is Death Touch. That's not relevant.
Ooh, I see the relevant part.
Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof, which I'm trying to find good ways to deal with, like Spellskite ability, right? This is similar to that. All of your creatures now just have Hexproof. And also pay 1 to untap another target creature or land you control. So it's another untapper of Cradle. It's another untapper of like my Magus of the Candelabra, right? Or it just gives all my stuff hexproof. My creatures, which is 99% of what I care about. And it's also just a big body. It's easy to cast because it's just green. I think I'm going to be testing this card pretty soon, probably for that Tempt with Discovery slot. I just want to give a little spice that I'm not sure on yet, but it might be good. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll give you my take. I think it's a little too slow.
I think so too.
Because you have to untap with it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I mean, you're known for trying out cards and
funky stuff
and then working out greatly.
The biggest part I care about though is like people are like, well, why don't you play Spellskite? I'm like, I don't know. I think this is like a little better than that. It doesn't stop my other permanents having hexproof, but my creatures are like 99% of what I care about.
Yeah.
My Bowmasters, all of my creatures are hexproof. Oh, you're
not. You can't interact with any. Like Otawara cannot hit something with hexproof.
You can.
You can.
Yeah. You can specifically Otawara it.
Only Otawara. Was that you think?
It's a channel ability.
If it's a.
Oh wait, no, you can't.
Let us know in the comment section down below. I'm not sure. I would imagine no because you have protection. I don't know if it's protection from spells. How does hexproof read?
It would say have to say protection from lands though.
Yeah.
Because having hexproof is spells and abilities. I guess it's an ability. It is. I think you're right. It's spell or ability, and that's an ability. No, you're right. You're right.
Or abilities, yeah.
That's
I did it, Mom.
Very relevant.
I did it. I did play the game. I played the game.
Got him. But I think it might be too slow. You're right. But I'll probably test it pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, what do you have to lose? Just a couple games on FNM or whatever.
I love testing cards. I love changing things around. I don't think this deck will be solved, quote unquote, for a very long time. Like we're just getting into it, right? And we're still finding cards like a Bora Breeze Caller just a few months ago, and that's like one of the best cards now. There's so many cards in this game, and I love brewing and like testing things.
Okay. As we wrap up this conversation of Rog-Thrass, who do you recommend this deck to?
Anyone that doesn't like playing Blue Farm. That's the most blanket statement I can give. But if you like playing Blue Farm, I don't think you'll like this deck. And if you don't like Blue Farm, I think you'll love this deck.
Because it's not very controlling.
No.
To me, it looks like this deck controls its wins.
Yep.
It can interact with the table, obviously, but to me, a lot of the spells that it has, it's to help protect its win cons, essentially.
And a lot of that of the time, it's like, oh, well, I'll just delay you from doing something and then I'll win.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean like, oh, you're never allowed to have it. Like a lot of my spells are bounce spells, right? So you'll have the Grand Abolisher later, but you can't have it right now. And then I'll just win before you get to have it later.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for walking us through that. I definitely learned a lot about Rog-Thrass. Now I feel prepared to play against this deck because I've lost to it too many times.
I gave you a free coaching session on what to do against me.
Wait, are you saying this is what a coaching session looks like?
What? Pretty similar, yeah.
Yeah, I bet there are more in depth and there's obviously more questions that they're asking.
100%.
More or less, but I imagine this is what they'll show you your deck list and they'll tell you what you should be adding or taking or how to be playing against different.
And a lot of the time too, it's like some people have videos of their gameplay or whatever.
Oh, cool.
And that's helpful. Like, oh, well, I think in this situation you did this. I think you should have done this. And we just talk about it and explain or whatever. But a lot of that too is just deck talk. Thinking about changes they would rather make or like, hey, should I try this card instead or do this? But
where can people find you if they want to get a tutor session with you?
Preferably on Discord. My Discord is just Pigeon Eyes. Pretty easy to get to. I'm busy a lot of the time, but I'll make sure to get you back on DMs. Yeah, it's pretty easy that way.
Okay.
I'm around.
Sick. He is a busy guy. It takes him like years to get back to me. And I'm his boss. I'm just kidding. I'm not your boss. Excellent. Well, we have a lame tradition here where I talk about TnT, baby. I haven't added it to the deck list because I added a car and then I lost it. I found out mid game. Yeah, it was a whole story. It's a funny story.
Okay.
Actually, I'll tell it because it's like it just shows people's characters and stuff like that. So I bought Townsgate Amadara at other game store.
Okay.
I put it into my deck and I played one game and then I lost it. Like I was playing on a game and I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna tutor for my Townsgate. And I was like, oh, it's not here. Oh, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's gone.
It's just not here.
It
Okay.
disappeared into the abyss. So the situation was happening where opponent I was playing against a turbo now deck, which is like they have one thing goes through their whole mind, which is just combo
win.
turbo.
Yeah.
I had I think it was Rog-Thrass deck, and then I had a loot deck, which is a food chain deck. And now I was just like doing their own little thing. They had to mull super low, and they made a deal because of the food chain deck was really ahead. They were going to win.
Yeah.
Where they looked at me and they told me, if you don't cast any spells in my turn, I won't play defense grid and pass. And I was like, if you're playing defense grid and pass, we were just losing the game.
Whoa.
Sure, man. I see like that's a fair deal. I'm not gonna counter your. It's a new person, right? I'm not gonna counter heuristics. I don't care. I don't really care what you do right now because they're about to win the game.
Yeah.
So I agreed to not playing any spells on my turn. Guess what the little snake did? Guess.
You put Talon Gates into play from your hand?
No, they put a win attempt on the stack instead, and I'm just sitting there like, wow. I feel like I've
You got politics, baby.
well, no, because I've played against the number one person in Colorado enough that I don't let people like trick me into losing the game, and I'm also not stupid.
Yeah.
I had an Aurora in hand, so I just bounced their spell seekers to their hand. Yeah.
Oh my god.
They were so dude. I was really upset. I was like, it gets a lot to tilt me when playing the game, but I was tilted to the moon, brother. They were so proud. They're like,
and you got away with it too because you didn't cast a spell.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because they're like, you say you made a deal. You're not gonna cast any spells, and I was like, I'm not. I'm casting out a war.
I'm
snake.
discarding this card. I'm
Yeah.
not casting anything. Yeah.
And they were so, dude. I needed like therapy session after that because I was so tilted that somebody would just like snake you, because I had to take the deal because we're gonna lose to food
The
chain.
next player.
And I'm not thinking about you putting a win on the stack right now because you're not a threat. You multi 3 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh god. But I didn't. They waited. They got fizzle or whatever because the following turn I had a crop rotation in hand that I was gonna go get my Talons Gate because they were gonna push again, and that's when I crop rotation for their spell seeker, and I was like, oh, I can't find my land. I guess you win.
There.
Yeah, it's missing. It's literally missing. It was a bummer, but that's just a
That's
funny.
what you've added though to TnT.
Yeah, that is the card that I added to, and a funny story that people do the wildest things when you play on with them. It's just like, why are you like this?
I know.
Why are you Snake?
Just be a good person.
Be a good
It's not
person.
that
Don't lie. They weren't lying, and they're like, what do you think I did wrong with that deal? I was like, we're gonna play again, brother, and I can't
I know.
at any deal you make, I will just
Trust
ignore.
you.
Yeah. But that was my little rant.
It turns out Talon Gates is a good card, and
It is.
you expect it to be in your deck, and it's not.
You can combination it, and you can also like grant a bolster,
Exactly.
which is great. So I added this to TnT. Also helps fix some colors. I think I took out like a fetch land or something. I need to look through my lands. I have to get another Talons Gate, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
It's a $20 card too. It's not cheap.
yeah, I was pretty upset. I was more upset about getting snaked than I was about losing the Talons Gate. But yeah,
It sucks either way.
yeah, both angles sucked. So yeah, that is us. As always, if you have any comment, feedback, or anything like that, please let us know.
Yeah.
We'll be doing this more often going forward. We kind of just jumped into it because Joseph's fresh out of a tournament, and we're like, Rog-Thrass? We haven't talked about Rog-Thrass.
Not like sit down and talk about it.
Yeah, like in depth talk about it, because that was a in-depth conversation, which I enjoyed. I think I almost, when we were talking, I was like, I kind of want to play Rog-Thrass. But unlike some of us, I am loyal.
You've been loyal to TnT for so long, and I respect you so hard for that. I know not very many people, unless they're playing Blue Farm, that can do that. So I respect you.
I'm a loyal person to this deck.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, if you have any comments, feedback, or anything like that, let us know. If you want to take any coaching from Joseph, reach out to him. I think you'll get a lot of it as well, and I think it'll be worth your time as well if you want to improve your skill set. But with that, folks, have an amazing rest of your day, night, whatever time zone you're watching this, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.